So today we're going to be looking at Rise of the Ronin, which is a new game from Team Ninja that is going to be coming out in March. Team Ninja is the development studio that brought you games like Nioh 2. More recently, it was Wolong um, Fallen Dynasty. So here is Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Um, there was a problem with Wolong Fallen Dynasty, as you can see. Unfortunately, the PC port was not as good as it got a 51%, 47% on Steam. Some people exaggerate, right? But I tried it personally and I had a lot of issues getting it to run on my PC. The difference with this game is it's a PS5 exclusive, so I guess PC players, you don't have to worry about that. But um, it's looked pretty cool so far, so I wanted to show it off here. This is going to be a game set in Edo, Japan. A lot of games that focus on Japan are set in this era. That's because it's actually a really interesting era. End of the Tokugawa shogunate. The emperor at the time is this guy, Emperor Komei. He dies here. Spoilers. He dies here at 1867. The setting of the game is 1863. I think 1867 was also the end. I think the end of the Tokugawa shogunate is coincides with his death. So it's coming into this period of a lot of upheaval. The West is getting into Japan and, starting a bunch of conflict in that area. Guns are becoming a thing that are really transforming the way that conflict works. So, these guys, known as Ronin, come in. They're the wandering warriors, and that seems to be what your character is. If you've played Nioh, if you played like Wolong, you know that Team Ninja is big on their gameplay. That's their bigger focus a lot of the time is focusing on making sure that their gameplay is really solid. This game seems like it's leaning a bit more towards that. What Sony seems to want. They want these third-person story-focused games. Rise of the Ronin seems to be following that pattern. This is a bit more focused on story. There's choice here, so you can make different choices as you go along, as you're allying with these different characters, making choices with them. It's also going to be open world, so it's going to have a big open world. There's a big city that you can see, and I'll be looking at the trailer later so you can get an idea of how big it is. It seems really big. We're talking on scale of like some of the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games. But that is one thing that worries me a little bit. I like open world games. I love open world games, actually. I really enjoy going through all these different landscapes and exploring. Um, I worry that it might fall into the trap of Ubisoft games where you're following a checklist of different things to do, getting caught up in that. I don't like the checklist because it feels like it's not as organic, right? Sometimes that's fun to get into, but if it's this sort of game where it's like very story focused, very exploration focused, usually I'll want something more organic, less like go to each little point on the map. Maybe don't have a map, that at least not easily available. But we'll see. We'll see how they choose to do their game. It seems like it's going to be a bit more towards non Ubisoft style open worlds, but yet to be said, I guess. So here we have some of the factions. We have the pro shogunate characters, Naosuke the second, Taka Moriyama. I don't personally know if these are very big figures during this time. I don't know a lot about the end of the Edo era. I've played some games that are set in it, but I personally don't know a lot about it. So these could be like big figures from that era. These could be figures that are specific to Rise of the Ronin. I'm not really sure. These are the anti-shogunate characters. Um, and then we have the Western forces, the people that are coming in and starting up conflicts, starting up trade too, breaking up some of the isolationist policies, as it says up here. We're going to be taking a look now at the trailer, so we can get an idea of how the game actually plays.
It is said that time marches to the beat of a drum. A fleeting moment can feel like a lifetime for those caught in its deadly rhythm. And a lifetime can pass in the blink of an eye for anyone embracing its bitter end. The only thing we know for sure is that time marches forward.
Even if we are apart, still we are one.
Without hesitation, without remorse. If the drum drives the rhythm, then the river directs the flow.
Let's do this together.
How many mountains must you move to alter the river below?
Let us not forget the pain of Master Shoin and the countless others who have suffered. As the smoke rises, so shall we.
Rumor is, a veiled edge will sacrifice their partner for duty. So which of you will do the deed?
Here we go, Rise of the Ronin. It's going to be available March 22nd, 2024. So let's get a look at some of the gameplay that was shown off here. So you can see here that there is going to be horseback traversal. So the game's big enough that that's going to be a thing. That's what that tells us. But there's also going to be a couple of different ways of traversing the environment. You have this hook shot. You also have a glider. So verticality is going to be a thing. We have different kinds of weapons that we're looking at that we haven't necessarily seen in a lot of these games. Not to this extent, I would say. It looks like there's going to be firearms, and that was a big thing at the end of the Edo era, right? We have these different weapons coming in, these firearms. You're going to be able to blast people like 20 times with that thing, apparently. Also spears. A lot of games just don't have spears for some reason. Don't really know why. But you kind of get an idea of the feel of the game, and it looks like it's going to be a bit more towards the Ghost of Tsushima style. To what extent, I don't really know. But it does definitely look way more story focused than we've seen in a lot of Team Ninja's more recent games, right? I think they've always kind of been very much gameplay focused and gameplay centric, but you can still see that the gameplay is very central to what they're doing. It looks really good, big flashy moves, all that stuff. I want to also take a look at some of this just so we can get a look at some of the areas that you're going to be going into. So we have here different times of the year, very beautiful scenery, right? There's part of the city that you can see. There's also this bamboo forest kind of area. So it looks like there's a lot of different locales that you're going to be going to, a lot of different places that aren't, so it's not all necessarily in just one city. And you kind of get that idea because, you have the horse, you have the different methods of traversal, that it's not going to be all tied down into one small area. There's going to be a pretty decently sized map for you to go around in. Um, that hook shot looks real cool. Hook shots are a thing that have been done a decent amount at this point, right? But that one, it seems like it's doubling as a tool for fighting and also for traversal. And you're able to grab barrels with the thing and fling it at people. Um, Very cool. A lot of cool ideas there. Not necessarily things that are completely like you've never seen it before, but things that are very cool. So here's just some images that we can go through just to get an idea of what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. Um, I'm definitely getting more and more hyped about this game. I think it has a lot of potential. It's focusing on that PS5 platform, right? So it's not gonna have the problems that Wolong had, where it has a couple of different platforms and it doesn't run as well on one of them, right? So don't have to worry about that. Maybe they can do a bit more because they're focused on the one platform. But overall, pretty excited to see what comes next for Team Ninja here. It looks like they've really got something that could have a lot of potential and be a bit more story focused. I love that. I love that idea. I like gameplay, but I love story. Yeah, Rise of the Ronin comes out March 22nd. It looks like it says 21st, so I guess that's a midnight release, right? March 22nd, 2024. So this year, just a couple months. We won't have to wait long.